Okay, a very, very, very warm welcome to Recon Village. I am Karan Shah, who's going to guide you through the whole Speaker Ops event. Before we start, I would like to give a big thanks to our sponsors, OSINT Industries, Cado Networks, Redden Labs, Pen Testers, Synac, and Synac Red Teaming, SquareX. A big thanks to them for sponsoring for this event. Now, it's time for our first keynote, which is Attack Surface in Motion, Why Today's Threats Don't Knock First. And that is going to be presented by Muslim Koser. So we've got a real insightful person with us over here. Muslim has over 25 years of experience in information security. I mean, that's quite a huge experience, right? I mean, we've got someone who's very skilled with us. His core focus is with cyber threat intelligence, cyber risk management, and cyber security consulting. He's worked with Volon, Fortinet, FireEye, and multiple other companies heading the cyber threat intelligence team within these firms. Muslim also has accredited involvement with establishing national level certs and consulting in various corporate C-certs. So please, let's welcome Muslim on the stage.
Thank you. So I have been given a very special topic to talk about. Overall, I have experience in multiple things over my career. So the thing which we are doing today is more about attack surface threats. So what do we see in cyber attack surface today? What things were there before is something which I'm going to talk about. The idea is to leverage my experience, what have been for years now, and see if I'm able to link those all things which were there in past to things which are happening today. That is my intention in terms of this talk, how we go about that. I think he has already given the introduction. I don't need to do too much of that thing. Today I work with Fortinet as a vice president, specifically working towards the attack surface area and threat intelligence area. Earlier I was co-founder of a company called Volon, which got acquired by Fortinet. Previously I worked with FireEye and IC8 partners. Earlier I was also part of India's HoneyNet project, global HoneyNet project. We built a number of honeypots. Shiva and Detox were the initial ones. So I don't know, the old timers might know what Detox is. Detox was technically first Linux based honeypot which we had built, I think 15 years back. That time it was, I think we had introduced this concept to the market. Shiva was the honeypot which was specifically for the spamming. So we used to give these free SMTP servers to the spammers, let them use our SMTP servers, and then use the spamming emails as intel collection tool. So a lot of those kind of things which we used to work upon at that point of time. And I was also part of the core members of a number of teams which set up national level certs, at least two or three different countries, and then we have also been part of the teams which set up the organizational level certs as well. So that is something which is kind of a very basic introduction of myself. Now, idea is, what do we discuss today? What do we talk today? That is something, a small agenda which I'm going to put it over here. It becomes very difficult to talk with this. I would have preferred walking there and talking, but I don't know. So what we do is we go a little back in time. We revisit what were the attacks of past, who were the actors of past. We will see it in a little bit of a quiz mode. I'll ask a few questions over here and see if anybody who is older than me or who can recognize these threat actors which are of past. We'll talk about those. We'll discuss how did these attack surface evolved over a period of time. Now, the time period which we are going to take for our today's discussion is from 2005 till 2025. So roughly around 20 years is something which we're going to talk about. What used to happen earlier, what happens today, what is the difference between those kind of threats, how the attacks have evolved over a period of time. These kind of things is something which we're going to talk about. So that's what I was talking about. What threats we face today and how those threats are different from the yesterday's threats. We'll talk about some trends in terms of once we are in present. So we'll start with past. We'll move in terms of the area where we discuss past and present, and then we'll go towards the present. While that's where we are going to end our talk today. And when we are in present, that time we'll talk about the recent trends, like what is happening in last 6 months, what kind of activities we are seeing in last 6 months. So that is where we are going to come back and those things today, and we'll summarize and close. See what is the overall impact of today's threats in general. I hope this line of talk is good for you guys. So let's start with going back in time. So as I told you, the time period we are looking is last 15 to 20 years is what we are looking at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up some logos over here, some icons over here, and maybe who all can recognize those icons. It will be nice. You see. Anybody? Anybody recognizes this? I think this is one of the most common. Anonymous, right? So Anonymous is a group which came up somewhere around 2009, 2010. At that point of time, anti-establishment activities, specifically the hacktivism side of the group. They did a lot of operations at that point of time, and in general, what happened is they split into number of anonymous. Now you had country level anonymous, you had financial sector anonymous, you have core anonymous group which was there at that point of time. So that was something 15-18 years back is when they started. Even today people use the name of anonymous quite a bit. Anybody? The picture suggests that the name. Anyone? Lizard Squad. So Lizard Squad is also a group which started somewhere in 2011 time zone. Anti-establishment again did a lot of activities. One of the most famous hack of Lizard Squad was anybody? Most famous hacks of Lizard Squad. Anybody heard about Sony hack? Right. So it was way back in 2011. This is Lulzsec. Lulzsec is also one of the most common group which was very famous at that point of time. It splintered into multiple groups, but the beauty of this group was only active for 50 days. After 50 days, the core member of Lulzsec was arrested, and then a lot of arrests happened between. But in those 50 days, they created mayhem in almost everywhere. So, and this name was being utilized a lot afterwards as well. But this group was there only for 50 days initially. Looking at the flag in between, looking at the photo in between, anything? So this was for Syrian Electronic Army, a very Syria-based pro-Assad group. It used to attack lots of activities when there was a war going on that point of time. There was a lot of activities were carried out by these groups. Name suggests. I think I don't need to tell the name of this. This is Red Hack. The Red Hack is pro-Turkey group, anti-establishment, but a group based from Turkish region. So they were anti on political grounds, but they were not anti-Turkey as such. So they were pro country, but the anti-political establishment at that point of time. Anti-Sec, very famous group at that point of time, 2011-12. Even today, people use these names a lot. More again used for number of hacking activities. And the last one is the Ghost Squad hackers. Ghost Squad hackers was even active as recent as 2 or 3 years back. You will be able to see their activities on internet a lot. So Ghost Squad hackers also was very anti-establishment. So most of these groups were more or the hacktivism focused, anti-establishment groups. Either they were working for a specific mission, like Anonymous was attacking banks at some point of time. Other groups were attacking based upon different motives. Now, hacktivism was basically it was because of an ideology, right? So based upon a specific ideology, that group used to function and provide those kind of inputs. That is something which mostly the ideology was anti-establishment. Any social kind of activities were something which they used to provide on that point of time. Uh, Now, what was their TTPs? Now, tactics is basically the DDoS attacks. Most of the times at that point of time, DDoS was very famous. Today, the data leaks and data breaches are more famous. But back in time, when these groups were active, because we are talking about back in time theme, when these groups were open at that point of time, the core things which were active was DDoS. Now, what kind of tools they used? So they use tools like LOIC and a lot of these kind of tools which were utilized for mass DDoS attacks. Today's environment, when we talk about what is happening today, we don't see these kind of tools active anymore. We don't see people talking about mass DDoS attacks anymore. Although there is DDoS as a service, you go to dark web, you will be able to get a DDoS as a service. Somebody will provide this service, somebody will have infrastructure. They will be able to provide that whole service to you as and when they want. But in general of mass gathering, where people are able to gather together for a specific reason and use a DDoS as a target, not much. So all these operations which used to happen that time was decentralized. These operations were used to happen. They were always monitored over IRC channels. So IRC, they'll create an specific op USA or op India or op Israel or op whatever. Those channels used to be created on IRCs. People used to get mobilized over there. They share their tools, and with their tools, they used to start their attacks on a number of these targets. Now, second motivations, we talked a lot about hacktivism. We talked a lot in detail about how hacktivist ideology takes care of these things. But that ideology did not last long. Today, although hacktivism is still present, but hacktivism is not a prevalent ideology as of today. As of today, people want to make money. So wherever there is money, I will go there. Is what the today's mantra is there, right? So that is something which people are trying to do as part of the activities which happens today. So although we'll talk about the things which happened from 2010 to 15-20 in terms of that specific region, that specific timeline, it was very important. A lot of things happened. I think most of you will be able to connect in terms of the points which we are going to talk about there. Now, phishing and social engineering. So earlier, if we talk about time before 2010, 8, 9, 10, phishing was common. Phishing was something which was very common, but targeted phishing was not. Social engineering activities with targeted phishing like spear phishing attacks were not that common at that point of time. So those kind of attacks started at this point of time. The range between 2010 to 2015 is the range which we are talking about on that. There was a lot of prevalence of script kiddies. So there was a point where this term was utilized, or this term was overutilized at point of time, where somebody will create a tool, somebody will create a system, and somebody who only knows how to run it, they will install that script on their machine and they'll start running it without even knowing repercussions of it, without even knowing how it works. So we used to tell those people as script kiddies at that point of time, because they are just running scripts. They are not doing anything else. They don't know what actually has happened in between. So that's what we used to tell them before. And over a period of time, breed of people got reduced. In I would say from 2015 2023, those people reduced, and people who really had good knowledge and people who really want to do a lot of things, those kind of people increased. But last couple of years, after we have good AI in place, these kind of people are again raising up again, right? So you can ask to any chat GPT or to write a tool for you, and it will give you a script to do any activity which you would like to do. Without even understanding, you are going to run it. So a lot of these people are going to pop up again as we go and as we talk about those. Banking Trojans, I think people who know Zeus, people who know Citadel, people who knows a lot of these kind of banking Trojans were very prevalent at that point of time. There used to be web injects. Using those web injects, the data from the victim's machine was compromised, and a lot of banks were getting targeted at that point of time. So while we were monitoring at that point of time we had a lot of customers in terms of banks, and during those times we used to monitor these web injects coming up from these banking Trojans. And with these things, we used to identify which of these banks are being targeted at a lot. So those kind of things we used to manage a lot at that point of time. Crime as a service, it is very common. If you talk today, it is very common. My friend Apurva sitting over there, he has a talk later. He will talk about those kind of things a lot, because in dark web, crime as a service is extremely common as you talk today. But it was not at that point of time. During that range of 2015, 10-15, these kind of services were just popping up onto the internet, where people were setting up their own malware, they're setting up their own systems, and then they're providing those kind of things as a service on dark web. Emergence of cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies was not prevalent at that point of time. Anybody knows what was the most utilized currency at that point at 2010-15 times? Bitcoin was not there, or Bitcoin was very early stage. Anybody knows what used to be a currency for actors, which they used to use? So they used to trade in a currency called LR. Liberty Reserve was the currency which was very active at that point of time. So all the transactions which threat actor used to do was in terms of LR. Over a period of time, there was a crackdown on LR. That whole system got shut down, and then everybody shifted on Bitcoins and Monero and a lot of different cryptocurrencies at this point of time. Ransomware. So today, ransomware is a champion. Ransomware is a hero as of today when we talk about it, but not at that point of time. Ransomware were rising because financial focus was little less. People were still trying to understand how we can establish a good money business with using a ransomware. Today, there is a whole ecosystem present. Using that ecosystem, everybody is earning a lot of money. So it was not at that point of time. That time was the time where the ransomware actually rose a little bit over a period of time. Browser-based attacks, like we talk about man in the middle, there was a man in the browser at that point of time where we used to capture things from the browser, although we do it again today with the info stealers. But at that point of time, there was a different thing. The use of the man in the browser was to carry out the banking credentials. So it was used mostly by the banking Trojans, used to use these kind of attacks to target the end customers. The APT term. So this is third motivation we are talking right now. The first motivation we talked about was hacktivism. Second motivation we talked about was financial crime or e-crime or cyber crime, whatever you would like to say. Third is what we are talking about right now is APT, advanced persistent threat. Now APTs, the term APTs were coined at that point of time. Nobody knew. Although people used to know about nation states attacks, people used to know about Stuxnet and 2 or 3 days these big attacks happened at that point of time. But although all of these groups was not very common. So during that time period between 10 to 15, the term advanced persistent threats were coined, and then a lot of cyber intelligence companies started naming these groups. So you had APT 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever. So we have number of nomenclatures, number of names, number of different kind of things which is happening as of today, which we will talk about that. Now we talked about things in past. So as I promised you that we are going to talk about things in past. So past is over. Now we will talk about how things have evolved over a period of time. So we will talk about evolution of attack surface over a period of time. Once we have the idea of evolution, then we'll go into the present. So past is over. We are on the evolution phase now. Now, what used to happen earlier? Earlier, we had a cloud was very early stage. Like cloud was just starting up at that point of time. Most organizations used to use on-prem infrastructure. Most of the infrastructure used to be on the company's premises. They used to have their own data centers. They used to have their own servers. They used to have their own hardware, and they used to have their own perimeter security as well. So at that point of time, everything was mostly on-prem, where they used to manage these kind of things. Attack surface were limited. Physical data center was there. Vulnerabilities were so only thing which you would do is patch the unpatched vulnerabilities. That's it, because that is my attack surface. I know it's very localized. I can go there. I can identify. I can find vulnerabilities and I can patch it. Those kind of things. Some misconfiguration. Whenever I see those misconfiguration, I would be able to patch those or fix those misconfigurations as well. What happens now? Things are different. Things are not as localized as it was earlier. Now you would have some servers, some systems sitting in your network. Some are in Azure, some are in Google Cloud, some are in AWS. They are having a heterogeneous connectivity here and there. A lot of people are spinning VMs or things on cloud, and you don't even know who is spinning it. You don't even know how these machines are connecting back. So attack surface is changing. It is not very localized. It is not something which you were able to manage with your local infrastructure, but now you have to manage whole of these things in mind. So you have heterogeneous environment, you have shared responsibility models, you have APIs, you have buckets, you have VMs, you have number of cloud instances. You don't know what all do you have. So things have changed over a period of time. That is something which is based upon the proliferation of cloud computing. Earlier we talked about IoT. IoT was very basic. Only we used to talk about some connected systems here and there. Now we are talking about our TV, fridge, washing machine, everything is connected. Right? So in our house, earlier we used to have one internet connectivity, and I used to have only one IP address which I used to have for my own machine or my own laptop. Today I don't even know how many connectivity or connection points are there in my own house. Right? So based upon the increase of IoTs, things have changed a lot as well. Right? And this has increased the supply chain risk. So I have a device in my house or in my office or in my network. We have seen the attacks happening because of the HVAC. Right? There was attack because there was a vulnerability in AC system. Attacker compromised that system, used that system to come into the network, and from there they got a foothold on that. So it depends upon those kind of things. Is that things are so diverse, and because of this diversity, it becomes very difficult for anyone to identify where do I put my protection. So attack surface again is expanding, is increasing. Mobile work was very limited. VPN was the only thing which you used to have. You just connect VPN, you connect to the corporate network, that's it. Mobile phone was not, there was normal brick phones what there used to be there. It did not have too much of connectivity. So there was not much of risk based upon mobile computing or work from home, all these kind of things. Today, things have different. After COVID, things have gone totally in a different direction. Before COVID, the work from home used to be very small term. Very few people used to work based upon their requirement from home. But today, I think specifically half of the IT population work from home, right? And that increases the attack surface because you're not able to manage your own parameters of your network. You have to manage people's home as well, wherever the devices are. You have to have those endpoint devices, endpoint systems installed. Based upon those things, you have to manage those things as well. So that is something which is very different, and as we go down. AI, anything like I have to talk about AI because there is an AI village there. So without talk about AI, I will not be allowed to go out from here. So we have to talk about it. So earlier attack was used to be very kind of a manual techniques. I used to create some attack vectors, some scripts, some kind of tools, and I would use only those tools for a long period of time. Right. So protection was easier because I know I have to create protection for these tools. I need to know, and based upon those things, I used to protect things on our side. But only thing which you used to have is phishing kits, templates, and basically the malwares which are very basic exploit and exploit kits. That was the only attack vectors which we used to have earlier. But nowadays things have different. You have kind of a very rapid evolution of AI. You use attacks specifically. You can use AI to create a phishing kits. You can use AI to create a phishing template. You can use just write one command in ChatGPT or Grok or whatever model you would like to use. They will create things for you. We'll talk about the dark AI as well. So based upon you are able to create, you are able to chain exploits. You are able to create a lot of things on the fly. So things are happening on the fly, which was not used to happen earlier. Earlier there was a lead time before a different kind of attack vector would be there. Today it is not like that. Today I can create number of exploits by changing parameters, by giving different commands to an AI prompt, and it will give me those kind of things. People are misusing LLMs to get malicious codes. People are trying to use attacks on these models to get data leaks as well. I can ask different kind of questions, and it will give me information of a PII of a CEO of a company. Right? It depends upon how you ask those questions. It depends upon how you craft those questions so that your agent will reply back to you on that. So things have again changed a lot. I have just created one small graph just to show how things have gone total in a different tangent. Most interesting which I found was the attack graph which started from 2019 because data before 2019 was so less. Now why 2019? Because 2019 was the any reason why on 2019 it is going like that after 2019? 19, right? 19, COVID-19, right? Because of COVID, nobody was prepared. Nobody was prepared for a longer work from home kind of things. So attacks were very prevalent. We had fun. We being into the business of threat intelligence, we had fun because we used to see so many different kind of attacks and companies being targeted like never before. Because if you are sitting in your office, you have number of layers of protection. But when you are sitting at home, same laptop is used by your children, your wife, yourself to do number of things, and you don't know what is installed on that laptop, right? Based upon that thing, things were totally out of the hand, and based upon that thing, you see the number of attacks have gone way high after that specific period. We have to talk about darknet. We have to talk about how things typically happens on dark web and darknet. That is something which is very important. We have to see how that playground is holding up. Dark web has been around for some time. At least as I know, it has been around for easily the last 18 years. It has been around. Now what has changed? What is happening on that playground? So, for any actor, people who monitor darknet, our friend will know over here there that whenever you monitor darknet, the persona of an actor is important. So if I am somebody who is going to monitor darknet, I have to act as an actor. I have to build my own persona. I have to build a trust, and based upon that trust, somebody will share those things with me. So idea is that strong presence, good reputation, trusted contacts is extremely important, right? Whenever you are operating on darknet, but these things are not there anymore. These things used to be there very commonly, very effectively, because I remember maintaining these personas for a very long period of time, and based upon trust, we used to get a lot of intelligence. Nowadays, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your persona. Nobody cares about who you are. Nobody cares about about things. You would see now they prefer use and throw profiles. For lots of number of breaches, we would see the actor will come, actor will share a screenshot of a breach and go off. That actor will have only one post on that forum. Where is the persona? There is no persona. One post and he's gone, and the company data has been breached. You are able to find a lot of things. It is very difficult to track them as well. Like earlier, it was easy to track because the persona was built over a period of time. You were able to say that okay, this actor was involved in this attack, that attack. We know this actor knows these kind of techniques. He uses these kind of tools. You used to make those kind of judgments based upon that thing, but not anymore because you see only one post. In one post, you cannot make any judgment, and that is a nightmare for people like us who are monitoring cyber intelligence as well, because things are changing totally different things. So earlier, what we used to see is in terms of mode of operations, we would see that okay, threat actor will seek, sell or share databases. They will sell vulnerabilities. They will sell services. Their services like crimeware as a service, DDoS as a service, ransomware as a service. Those kind of services which used to be sold onto the dark web. Now, nothing much. I am only here to earn money. So what I am going to sell is I'll sell network access. I will sell VPN access. These are the things which are important for any specific areas which we have to identify and do it. So what changed? What is something which has changed? Why there is a shift between what they used to sell earlier and what they do today? What is something which has changed? So change was because of arrival of info stealers. I think now we are talking about things in present. So a lot of people would know about what an info stealer is. Info stealer is a stealer which will hook onto your browser. Whichever website you visit, it will capture all the credentials from that website and then send it to command and control server. So technically, you will lose all of your passwords and accounts whenever these info stealers are getting infected on your machines. So with the arrival of info stealers, things have got changed a lot. So this was a new oil. That's what we say in the terminology of threat intelligence. It's a free money. The one of the very easy way of attack, easy way of getting things like that. So what do? I am able to gain initial access. I just buy one VPN credential from an actor. If I have VPN credential, I install that VPN credential. If there is no 2FA there, I am already connected to your network. I am inside your network now. So I don't have to target any vulnerabilities. I don't have to use SQL injection. I don't have to use any other things. I am already inside onto your network, right? They are selling data on dark web, so you are able to sell these things on there. They are having kind of a talk with ransomware people. So ransomware operators and info stealer IAB, we call them as initial access brokers. So they talk a lot and carry out those data as well. Use these data to for account takeover and then use it for reconnaissance as well. I'm going to move a little fast because what we have is the screenshots here. Now, from where do you find these info stealers? Info stealers are being sold on cybercrime forums. You will see that red marking over there where there is a specific section on the forum where these things are being sold. There are dedicated dark net marketplaces where the info stealers are sold. So there is nothing else, only stealer logs. You can go and you spend $10. You want to target any specific company, give the domain of that company, spend $10. You are going to get a full persona profile. You can load that profile along with the cookies. So you just go ahead, log in, and you are able to change. You have actually stolen that specific person's persona onto your machine. Very easy. On IM platforms like Telegram, there are dedicated channels where these things are being shared a lot. Now these info stealers, people who are selling it, they are called as initial access brokers, who are selling the initial access like VPN access, database access. One of these kind of access I am selling. Right now, these access is required by our ransomware people. Ransomware guys are not today. They are not going to attack you today with detailed kind of reconnaissance. They're not going to go and attack, find SQL injection vulnerability in your network. They're not going to do any those kind of things. They are just going to go to these people. They buy things, So IAB is initial access brokers. They will do collection, parsing, validation, reconnaissance, and sale of info stealers in this cycle. And after this cycle, you will have a ransomware affiliate which will capture these things from there, from point number 5. After this, they will directly purchase things from IABs, do privilege escalations, do deploy ransomware, and deploy the extortion and do the extortion. So there is a kind of a very good combination of these things are going on that. Earlier, people used to communicate on IRC and Jabber. Today, people communicate on Telegram and Discord. There is a difference between if you go to IRC channels today, then you will not find anything much. But if you go to Telegram, you will find a lot of things. If you go to Discord, you will find a lot of things. So while we were monitoring, we had to change our monitoring tactics as well. Stop monitoring IRCs, monitor Telegram. That is something which we have to do. So IAM is fast and easy, very easy to utilize. Distribute malware kits, distribute your DDoS and hacktivist campaign running on Telegram. Credential data and trading. So basically, this is the stealer logs which are being sold on dark web, and social engineering brand. So you just do a brand impersonation and sell details about a specific brand onto dark web. Now, my last topic. I'm not going to talk too much about it because there are a lot of people who definitely talk about that. Dark AI. Most of people would know about all these: Worm GPT, Auto GPT, Fraud GPT, Poison GPT, Fidden GPT. So idea is that all these models are available today on the dark web. You can take these models. It has no filters. So today, if you use ChatGPT or you use Grok, there are filters. Whenever you are trying to do any illegal activities on that, it is going to stop you. But if you take these models from dark web, the filters are not there. When the filters are not there, you are able to create craft exploits. You are able to craft a lot of things which are malicious in nature. So in a traditional GPT model, you are not able to do it, but in other models, you would be able to do it. Some screenshots. I'm not going to take too much of time in that, where how these things are being sold on dark web. Like these, all these posts are very recent posts which are there, where people are selling these models very conveniently, very easily, and the way it is being sold. Now, I have been given ultimatum. I have to finish up fast. We'll see attack trends. So, how the trend has changed. So, this is what we are talking about last 1.5 years. So, as I promised you that we'll talk about past, present, and something which is we're talking as of today. So, this is a trend which we are talking is that important thing is that the vulnerability exploitation earlier from the ransomware groups. How the ransomware groups are exploiting number of CVEs, how the exploitation has increased over a period of time is something which is interesting to see over there. Idea is in terms of how the chatter is being discussed on dark web. So discuss of vulnerability chatter on dark web is something which has been increased. Discuss of vulnerability chatter on IM and Telegram has been decreased at least in last 6 months. Is something which we have been talking about. This is one of the most important slides of this whole presentation. The idea why I'm saying is most important because you see I talked about info stealers. I talked about credential stealers. Now what you will get from these stealers? You see the top 5. So if I have your SSO credentials, if I have your mail credentials, if I have your GitHub credentials, if I have these credentials, moment I have these credentials for free, I am inside your network. I don't need anything else, right? So info stealers are normally helps you to provide and give you these kind of access from their side. So most of these credentials are being sold for $10. Minimum is $10. In terms of ransomware targets, earlier we used to see ransomware used to target big groups, big companies, big money. Today, the big target is happening in the companies which are less than 5 million. Irrespective of how big or small you are a target of these kind of groups. Hacktivist operations, I'm not going to talk about this. We have talked about these operations a lot because this is something which is happening currently. You see Op Israel, Op Russia, Op US, Op India, Op Palestine. A lot of these things are something which are happening today. 6 months down the line, these things will change based upon the geopolitical activities happening at that point of time. So these things will keep changing. So my last slide, in terms of the idea is to summarize in terms of why did you discuss, why did I choose this topic, that today's threats don't knock first. Earlier, what we used to do, if you need to have an attack, you would do a proper reconnaissance, you will run nmap, you will identify vulnerabilities, you will craft your payloads, you will do a web application attacks, you would do all these kind of things. So whenever you are doing these kind of activities, my firewall or my perimeter will give me some indications that okay, these activities are going on, right? That is something which is knocking onto the network or knocking onto the door of your machine. But today, I don't need. I can buy a VPN access from a stealer log, and I'm inside your network. I don't have to do any exploitation. I don't have to run anything on that point of time. Focus is totally on IIBs. They don't carry out any attacks. They just sell the credentials which are already there. Ransomware group, the partnership which we talk about, ransomware group does not need to do any janky-manky things. They don't have to do anything. They just have to talk with IIB groups, take data from there and done. Misconfigured cloud buckets, I can get all these data for free. Any data, any cloud bucket which is misconfigured, any data on the cloud which is misconfigured, I can get those data. Just identifying this misconfiguration, I can dump all the data. So in all of these areas, I have done nothing. I have not done any knocking onto your network. I have not done any knocking onto your perimeter. All of these things are is already available to me. And any exposed posts, exposed services, vulnerable software which we used to talk about, that all this is bonus. Based upon that bonus is something which we are talking about. AI play, without AI, today's world is very easy, right? So you have those AI models with you. You don't even need to be an expert. You don't need to be a coder. You don't need to be an expert to craft and exploit. Use an AI model. They'll give you one of those dark AI models. They'll give you those exploits, and then you're done. Based upon those things is something which we talked about that thing today. This was my last slide. This is my message. Stay paranoid, stay safe. More paranoid you are, more safer you are. Any questions? Thanks a lot. Thanks.